What's going on, everybody? This is MDENT313, and I'm back at y'all with another one. Listen, Andy Cruz is coming off a solid performance. He looked sharp. He looked accurate. He looked strong. But he kind of resorted to that traditional Cuban style where they were, they're kind of, with the exception of David Morrell and Andy and Erislandy Laura now, not the earlier version of Erislandy Laura, but what I mean by that is, he was extremely economical with his punches. He didn't throw a whole lot, but when he threw, he landed. He was sharp. He was accurate. He was fast. Andy Cruz is a tremendous fighter. Not maybe the most exciting fighter, but definitely a tremendous fighter. He was on the undercard of Steve Nelson versus Pacheco, in which we saw Pacheco upset and beat Steven Nelson. I thought Nelson would win that fight. I didn't do a breakdown or prediction for that fight, but man, it turned out to be a pretty good fight. But anyway, Andy Cruz pulls up on Keyshawn Davis and Shakur Stevenson, and Andy Cruz continues to pull Keyshawn Davis' card. And I'm telling you something right now, it might just be me, but I noticed Keyshawn Davis' energy around Andy Cruz is giving me Keith Thurman energy when Earl Spence is brought up. I don't think Keyshawn Davis is completely confident that he'll beat Andy Cruz, right? Keyshawn Davis went on a rant saying F Andy Cruz, whoop-de-woo, this and that. But when they mention Keyshawn Davis, when they mention to him about fighting Andy Cruz, is always, well, listen, I'm in the, my next fight is a title fight. Andy Cruz is, he got a couple more fights he need. He not ready for me. Andy Cruz ready for you, my man. Stop making excuses. And while we waiting on the Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Tank Davis fight, why don't you shoot Andy Cruz that fade and get your get back from the Amis, right? Ever since Andy Cruz beat Keyshawn Davis in the amateurs, Keyshawn Davis, since they've been in the pros, I will admit, he's gotten off to a faster start, and he's put on more exciting performances. I won't say necessarily better, but I will admit much more exciting. He seems extremely reluctant to fight Andy Cruz. It was one time where they brought up, Andy Cruz. They mentioned to Keyshawn Davis in an interview about, hey man, when you gonna fight Andy Cruz, man? I think that'd be a good fight. His exact words was, and I quote, listen, I've been in the pros longer than him. He need to get a couple more fights in. We'll meet after we both get a title. But every time, he's asked about Andy Cruz, he don't seem too confident to me that he'll beat Andy Cruz. And even though in that fight I'll be rooting for Keyshawn Davis, I'm not confident picking Keyshawn Davis to beat Andy Cruz. I think Andy Cruz's length, his accuracy, his hand speed, his counter punching ability would give Keyshawn a lot of problems. Now, I will admit Keyshawn Davis got the punching power to hurt him, and Keyshawn Davis is a phenomenal boxer, but I don't think Keyshawn Davis is patient enough. How can I put it? I don't think he'll be patient enough to set up Andy Cruz the way he need to set traps and set up Andy Cruz. I think, in my humble opinion, I think Andy Cruz would outbox Keyshawn Davis right now. I don't think Andy Cruz is the one who need more fights and more experience. I think Keyshawn Davis is the one who need more experience. He need more experience fighting boxers and counter punchers. He don't look, when he fighting guys like that, he don't really look that impressive to me. He look decent, he looks solid, but he don't look impressive to where I would go in there to pick him over Andy Cruz. I think Andy Cruz would comfortably outbox him. I would say 8 rounds to 4. As of right now, if they were to fight tomorrow, I would be picking Andy Cruz. I would root for Keyshawn Davis to win, but if you force me and twisted my arm and asked me who would I put my money on, I would put my money on Andy Cruz. But pay attention to Keyshawn Davis energy and behavior when Andy Cruz is mentioned. Pay attention to how he reacts anytime you ask him about Andy Cruz. Let me know who you guys think will win that fight. Would you feel comfortable picking Keyshawn Davis over Andy Cruz, or would you go Andy Cruz over Keyshawn Davis? Because I would pick Andy Cruz. Boxing ability is too good, too smart, too accurate, pretty strong, kind of big for the weight. And I got Andy Cruz all day, every day. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe.